Welcome to How They Do That. I'm your host, Scott Waldron, and here is a little preview of what you're going to hear today.
I think building a business in an area, in a field where I already had experience, credibility, was an easier fit. Let the decision makers be in the room, because if I am not able to convince or come across as someone who can help those people that are going to make the decisions that hold the purse strings, then we are not going to get very far. So I think learning from others is great when you have the right perspective, when it doesn't crush you because you're not doing it that way, but inspires you to do something in a different way.
Maria Guy is somebody that I have followed for a while. She is an inspiration for me and a mentor, and I truly value her input, her insights, and her guidance throughout my coaching journey. She is a senior partner at Giant Worldwide. She's dedicated to helping individuals and organizations with exceptional leadership skills, and I've seen her multiply these leadership skills not only into her clients, but into us fellow coaches. She has done so much for our coaching community. She has a passion in particular to serve the construction industry, which that's where I've seen her work. And that's where she's brought me in to help her in, coaching and serving other clients. And we've done that together, which has been super, super cool just to be able to partner with her on various projects. She spent 20 years actually in the construction industry, including as an executive. She's originally from El Paso, Texas. She's lived in New Mexico for the better part of her life. She's married. She's got 2 kids. And really her legacy in construction is marked by a ton of service, what she's done for AGC, the association, leadership, and just pioneering the way for women in particular in construction. Women are definitely in the minority, and she is doing a lot to pave the way for them. She's built a super successful coaching business by serving this industry that she knows so well. So talk about brand positioning. That's Maria, and that's what we're going to talk about. Okay. Here we go. One of my favorite people on the planet, Miss Maria Guy. Hello.
Hi, Scott. How are you today?
You are such a blessing in my life, not only today because you're here, but every day because you've done so much for me. And I just, I love you for it. Thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure working with you, and I'm excited about doing this today.
Well, I'm excited that, I told you before we got on that I've had the privilege of being able to hang out with you and laugh with you and build things with you and teach with you and facilitate with you. And I've just, soaked in all the stuff that you've been able to offer. And a lot of the people that we associate with have so much gold to bring. And I want you to share a little bit of that with the world. And you've offered to do that. So I'm grateful for that. Give us a quick background on you, though. Help us understand where you came from and how you ended up where you are.
Absolutely. Well, I've really enjoyed working with you, Scott, and the group of people that we surround ourselves with. It's an amazing group. I grew up in El Paso. I moved to Albuquerque to go to UNM, and I think my second semester I met my future husband, and we've been married for 32 years. I went to study engineering. I was told I was good at math and science, and so I should be an engineer. And I thought, that sounds great. I don't know what they do, but let's go do that. So I got my engineering degree, and I figured out which engineering discipline I enjoyed, which was civil and construction. And so I pursued then a master's degree in civil engineering. And for the better part of 20 years, I spent my career working for general and mechanical contractors, and doing the work of construction, which is absolutely amazing what the professionals in that industry get to do. So my husband and I had 2 kids. They're 25 and 22. And we live in Albuquerque. and we just are enjoying life. And I love that I get to speak into this industry.
Okay, so you have had this impact on the construction industry. You have been an executive inside the construction world. You have worked in the construction world forever. I have been able to be introduced to the construction world through you and with you and done some things there. What do you feel like is your superpower when it comes to building your business as a coach? You have built a thriving business as a coach and a consultant. What has been your secret sauce?
I am naturally wired for structure and getting things done, which is part of what construction people do. They have to bring order and structure, a lot of different people to get things done. So I think when I started building this business, I was able to tap into my previous network. I don't think I could have been a consultant any sooner. I needed that actual experience. And so I think building a business in an area, in a field where I already had experience, credibility, was an easier fit for me. So in building this business, it's been very structured and organized. Sometimes I can be too structured, too organized, and that's when I need people to help me think bigger or outside of the box. But I think my approach appeals to a lot of construction professionals because the construction industry is cynical by nature. You know, we think twice, we raise an eyebrow. It's like, are you really going to be able to deliver this? And we're always asked, you need at least 3 quotes for everything. So I know when I meet with a construction professional, they're thinking, well, if I'm going to consider you, I should probably consider other people. And so I know I'm always up against someone else when it comes to doing work. So it helps that I understand that world and I'm able to bring a perspective that is absolutely practical. So I think those, some natural wiring, but also tapping into a place where I feel like I'm already a professional, has facilitated the success and the growth of my consulting.
Because a lot of the things we do are, I guess you could say, industry agnostic. They don't really it's not like a tool that we teach only applies to this specific industry. It doesn't only apply to construction or to creative agencies or to law firms or whatever. So how do you position yourself in a way that is attractive for you, the construction industry, but anybody else out there? How would you think how do I position myself to help you know that this is for you?
Well, in the work that we do, we know that 73% of the population, 3/4 of the population is very practical and they have a lot of questions. So I think anytime in consulting, when you are able to understand their pain very clearly and offer practical solutions, not get too theoretical or we'll just have to see how it goes. People want to know exactly how it's going to go, especially the people that manage the purse strings. And so when you position yourself, I will always, I hear from people say, oh my goodness, my company needs this. Can you come, help? And so I will set up a meeting, but I always ask for the decision makers. Let the decision makers be in the room, because if I am not able to convince or come across as someone who can help those people that are going to make the decisions that hold the purse strings, then we are not going to get very far. So I think making sure that the right people are in the room and that you are providing as practical a solution to the pain that they are currently experiencing is going to be it's going to make it easier for them to say yes to you.
And how are you, this kind of diverts a little bit, but specializing in an industry, are you actually going out and just looking at construction companies and trying to find the heads in those companies and the people that you're trying to, get in the door with, those gatekeepers and whatnot? Like, are you using your network? How are you best finding those resources for you?
9 years in, there's a lot of word of mouth, but I'm going back to those early years. You have a network that you may not even realize you have a network. And so when I first started to begin to let people know what I was doing, I just hosted some sessions, some lunch and learns where I say, hey, we'll provide a light lunch and I want you to hear about what I'm doing. And so inviting all of those people that you already know, because they're either your client or they know your next client. And so in the beginning, when you start a business, you're like, I'll work with anyone, whoever it is, and a financial institution, a school, or an individual. But I think once I started to, especially network inside of my field and the people that knew me or knew of me or knew that I am a construction professional, then I started closing work with those folks and then leveraging those networks. Then who else needs this? And what I have done is that I have used the folks that I've been working with the longest as my references. So I'll talk to a client and say, but you know who you should really talk to is that client I've been working with for 5 years. And I've already prearranged with those folks. I said, answer as honestly, this is what works. This is what's difficult. This is what's been challenging. These are the successes. And more often than not, those clients close the deal for me because they were already leaning in this direction. But to leverage another professional's experience, I think that makes a huge difference. So that means you need to serve, especially those first clients, really, really well. And I would even say over-serve them. Do not be concerned about, I didn't charge for that hour. Serve them really well because they are going to help you build your business. It's important that you just give them everything you've got.
And when you're looking at these referrals, so you're getting testimonials and things from these people, and then you're going to new clients and you're saying, hey, you should go talk to this person or whatnot. Are you actually asking for referrals from some of these clients as well? Or are you just relying on kind of your ability to reach out to new people and then using them as references?
Both. Sometimes they will approach me and say, you know who really needs this? And they'll make that connection. One thing that I have learned is that I need to partner up more often because at some point you hit a ceiling where there's only so much you can do. So I think early on, I limited that referral and finding new clients because I knew I couldn't handle more instead of thinking we'll bring more people on so that you can handle more. So both asking for referrals or having them recommend someone because you don't want to work with everyone. There are certain people. And so when you develop your criteria of what that ideal client looks like for you and go back and think about why do I love working with these people? Why is working with these people more of a challenge? You develop some guidelines and criteria and then be very selective about who it is that you are engaging with. Sometimes that paycheck is not going to be worth it if it is a client who's really not bought into professional development, or that you have to haggle on your price and they're constantly trying to reduce it. Things like that you think, this is not what I want to do. So develop your ideal client and be selective about who you work with. And then it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like this is amazing that I get to do this every day.
There are some people out there that are struggling and they're trying to build their business, and they look around and they see all of these coaches thriving and people building successful companies. And they're like, I want that too for me. That's why I went into this, because I know I could serve people and I know I have a gift and I know I have these things to give people, but I just can't get over this hump, or I can't get past this thing. You've been in this a long time. You've helped others also thrive in this area. what would you offer as some hope, maybe some inspiration to those individuals that are struggling? What is something you would give them advice or whatever? Because you've probably been there at times in your career.
Yes.
What do you wish you knew?
The mistake I made in the beginning is when I was learning from other people how to start my business, I felt I had to do it like they did because it was successful. There was a proven track record. And what I realized is that the people that are much more relational, that have big networks, that are those extroverted folks, they do business development one way. And that did not fit who I was. I had maybe a tighter group of people, a smaller network. That networking piece of going out and meeting people was exhausting to me. And so what I realized is I cannot business develop in a way that doesn't feel genuine to me. And when I started doing business development in a way that made sense to me, it was much more successful. So while you can learn a lot about how people build their business, don't feel guilted into doing that way or feel pressured. Take what makes sense from what they are doing and incorporate it to what your style is, because it's going to come off more genuine. It's going to come off more real, and people want to work with real and genuine, knowledgeable people, not someone who feels like they're faking it or disingenuous in any way. So that was mistake number one. It's like, I've got to figure out how to do it the way which feels natural to me. And someone told me, Maria, don't sell, serve. And that changed everything. I thought, I hate selling, but I love serving. So if I can just serve these people, they turn into paying clients that want me year after year. And so that was a big game changer. And if you're struggling, the temptation is to go figure it out on your own and to go read another book and go listen to another podcast or go. And sometimes you just have to tap someone who thinks very differently than you do, tap people that are exactly the way you are, and just be curious and learn, but don't feel pressure to follow exactly what they did. And so I think learning from others is great when you have the right perspective, when it doesn't crush you because you're not doing it that way, but inspires you to do something in a different way. And secondly, I think partnering up with people is something that I wish I had done sooner. But when you're getting started and you're struggling to build that business, it feels like there's not enough time, not enough money, not enough retainer, not enough anything. And I think that's a mistake. And sometimes if you can partner up with someone, especially if they can balance you out, like the work you and I did, we balance each other out. And it's just so much fun when someone else brings something to the table. That might be the best thing to do, is to go in with someone, share a client, and then figure out, is this something that would work for us in the future? But going it alone is pretty isolating. And you realize pretty soon it's ultimately not the best route. It's going to take you a lot longer to get things going.
That's so good. That is so good. I'm getting there. Right. I'm using you and other people that I've met as inspiration for that. And I'm trying to get past that. It's a mindset thing, I think, for a lot of people as well, as we strive to grow. But it's self-preservation. It's all kinds of things that get in the way of that happening. So thanks for that. Any books, movies, podcasts, anything that we should digest right now that you're digesting that you think is amazing for others? I like what you wrote in your little notes here, but I want to hear if you have anything else you'd want to say to that.
There's so much. I love listening into the Giant stuff, the different podcasts that get put out, from Giant worldwide. I always have some business book going, or several business books going. Right now, it's this 10x is easier than 2x. So I'm exploring that idea. I often tell people, especially consultants, to be very careful and curate everything that is coming in, what you're reading, what you're listening to, who you're talking to, because inevitably all of that makes it into your consulting. I can't tell you how often I listen to something or I read a book and a client asks me a question and I'm able to draw from that. So it's like eating, right? Choosing the best things to eat so your health doesn't deteriorate, choosing the best things to consume mentally will show up in your interaction. So be very careful about what the intake is, whether it's spiritual or business or just fun reading, all of those things, they show up in a way that you may not even realize. So curate carefully.
So true. You read for fun? Really?
I do. I do.
That's awesome. So cool. That's so cool. I don't understand people that read for fun. I'm like, reading for fun? Like, I'd rather just watch a movie because it'll go faster. But, reading for fun. I don't know. One day, Maria, I'll read for fun. This has been really good. And I love that advice of surrounding yourself with good people, good books, good reads, because they will make it into it happens to me all the time. I'm reading, I just finished Mark Golson's book called Just Listen. He was a mentor and friend of mine. And he's talking about mirror neurons and mirroring what the behavior you want to see in the other people. And I just used it the other day, in one of my groups.
See?
It happens. It happens.
It absolutely happens. Yes. And it makes for richer, deeper conversations when you are well versed on all sorts of things. And so, yes, very important.
It does. Hey, you are a rock star. I wish I could hug you physically, but I can't. So I'll virtually hug you. There it is. There it is. Thanks for being on the show. You're awesome.
Well, thank you for having me.
I hope that everybody got something out of this. You dropped so many little things. I think we're going to take this one and then we'll just build like a whole year's worth of content. So
that's
well done,
awesome.
Maria. Well done.
Anytime. Thank you, Scott. It's always a pleasure seeing you.
All right. You too. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for joining me today on How They Do That. If you found this helpful, please rate the show wherever you listen to podcasts. You see, I help you, you help me. That's how it works. Oh, and please do not keep this to yourself. Share the show with a fellow coach who could also use these insights. Keep exploring, my friends. Never stop asking how'd they do that? Because with every question, you get closer and closer to refining your business and scaling your impact.